Welcome back for episode 3. As always, we start with our patrons. This patron of the week is Sierra. She is the best DMV braider in town, okay? She will hook you up. So thank you, C, for being a supporter. If you guys want to support, you can go to patreon.com/nowuspodcast and you can give to support the movement that we're trying to do. We're trying to take this production to higher levels, much bigger things. We're trying to get on Roku TV. So your money will be spent wisely. Plus, you become part of the team. Had to keep chasing our dreams. This week, our audience question was from Miss Tamia. She asked, how can you establish boundaries and how do you make those boundaries clear without coming off as being harsh?
That's a nice question. We appreciate the question, Tamia.
Thank you, Tamia. She left that question on YouTube. Oh, so boundaries. I would say, first and foremost, Tamia, you have to set boundaries because you can't have expectations of people to know what lines not to cross if those lines were never established. Let's just say it's a guy. If a guy is used to being with someone else where they can come in at 4 a.m, where they can not do any certain sexual things or anything like that, the things that is demanded or that you would like. If you don't set those boundaries up, then he's just doing what he's used to doing. And so if you say, hey, I really don't like the 4 o'clock in the morning thing. Like I go to sleep, I go to work or whatever the case may be. Like that's not working for me. And to set that up, like, look, if we're going to be living together or you're going to be in this house or, we're going to be doing this thing together, that's that's something that's not, I find that to be disrespectful.
Yeah, but don't that feel like rules, though? Like you just setting rules or you implementing rules? And that make me feel like as a man, like, come on, you're not my mother. You know what I mean? But I know it's a respect thing. And then it's a fine line between, the disrespect and taking it as you telling me what to do.
Yes.
Type of thing.
Yes. Well, that's why respect goes with boundaries. Because for some people, coming in after the sun is disrespectful. And so now that's falling under, you're crossing a boundary that I feel like you should have more respect to get your butt in here at a certain time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Out of respect for me, out of respect for my sleep, out of respect for we're in something that we don't do that. Now, I'm not saying if it's a bachelor's party or it's a certain event, a guy saying no, and I'm not putting any rules on anything. You know how I feel about rules. They feel like a chain around my neck, you know. So I'm not saying it in that way, but I'm saying set those boundaries so that those issues, he could decide, shorty, I'm used to dealing with, I could do this, and this, and this. I'm not really used to having the time to come in here. That feels a little awkward to me to try to beat the sun, racing with the sun to get in here to please you.
Yeah.
Then he can establish that. But if she says nothing and just have no boundaries and he just coming in there every morning at 7 a.m. in the morning, then that's going to be a way bigger problem than speaking up and setting, hey, this is a boundary that I expect. Now, what about boundaries? Let's take it away from the relationship side. What about boundaries with family? Like family being all in your business in your relationship, or where do you set the boundaries where you like, oh, this between me and wifey, like this is not, because family feel like because you guys are blood or because of the history,
they gotta say so.
They have a say so. It's demanded that they have an opinion and they can force it on you in your household. So what about boundaries in that instance?
Well, those ones kind of tough to me because, like, if you have someone like your mother, right, and she's been the sole provider for you for your whole life, and now you get a female that you're in a relationship with, I know majority of the people would say, and I'm on the side with the majority in this one. Majority of the people will say, well, now once you step into that relationship, mom is, second nature to that. The relationship comes first because this is the person that you chose to build a life with at this point. So, I'm with them on that, but a mother wouldn't feel like that. A mother would say, you came from me. You came out of me. I had you in my belly for 9 months. So it would be emotional attachment to that. And she's not wrong. But it's certain boundaries that she shouldn't be able to cross and that she should understand. Because I can't be a child forever. But I will be your child forever, but I can't be a child forever. You gotta let go, and then you gotta let me do my own thing here. So that's a boundary right there that I would lean more towards. The majority, what I would think that the majority of the people would lean towards.
Now, how do you approach that? Because that's what I was saying about putting it out there.
Person,
how do you tell mom?
As which individual though? As the person, as like the son in that analogy, or
as the son in the analogy, like your mom is overstepping. Okay. She's always dogging your girl, or she's coming in your house changing things around, or she crosses the boundaries to a whole nother level. She's mom. That's what moms do. Like they feel like they entitled to say whatever they want. I'm going to decorate this way. Girl, put them collard greens over. Give me them greens. I'm taking them from you. I'm putting the neck bone in it,
Thanksgiving time, your girl can't cook nothing.
She can't cook nothing.
Get out the kitchen.
She can't cook nothing. And you her baby. You know how your mother is. That banana pudding. Oh, yeah. She make you whole trays. Let me try to come in there and say this year, I'm making a banana pudding. I will be kicked out of there quicker than I walked in, right?
You might get kicked out the family. Tripping.
I might get kicked out the whole family, right?
Yeah.
But anyway,
don't touch that banana.
Don't touch that. Listen, it's so good. I don't want to. Listen, I'm there for the plate. I'm there.
I feel you.
So how is it that those situations where family overstep, that you actually would approach that with mom? Like, where do you set that? Or do you go back to the respect thing? Because earlier you said I shouldn't have to set it. It should just be a respect thing. Well, how do you do that in that instance?
In that instance, it wouldn't be a respect thing because mom wouldn't feel like she's disrespecting you, right? So she wouldn't fall in the category as being disrespectful. But it is disrespectful, but she just wouldn't think that she's being disrespectful, right? So in that instance, I'm more dominant. So, like, whatever I would like to think, whatever I, suggest to my mother, she listens for the majority of the moments. Yeah. So she listens. So if I say, look, we think you overstepping in here a little bit, she'll be like, you know what? She might catch a little funky attitude like, well, I ain't doing shit. Yeah. But that boundary was established. Yeah. You know what? And then she'll know moving forward that this is something that we don't like, or this is something that we can't tolerate or we don't appreciate, and she'll fix it. Yeah. And she'll fix it. But for those people that don't have that type of relationship with, let's say, their mother or their father, it could be seemingly tricky. It could be tricky because some mothers ain't trying to hear shit. You ain't gotta say so. As being a child, like, I'm coming in here, I'm cooking these greens the way I want to. You will get out the kitchen. You get out the kitchen. And then,
actually,
and then it puts the other party, like the girlfriend or the boyfriend, it puts the other person in a bad situation because you can't disrespect nobody's mother. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Or father. Yeah. Or parent. You can't disrespect nobody's parent and think that it's going to be cool in a relationship moving forward.
She mentioned, like, without coming off harsh.
Yeah.
So I think the harsh part would depend on who you're talking to. Because some people are more sensitive than others. And some people would take that as, all right, you know what, I understand that. I could fall back in that area. And then some people, that would be heartbreaking. Like, that would be. So how do you think she should deal with the people that telling them, this is my boundaries, back off a little bit? How do you think she should deal with them that's, like, overly sensitive, that will take it to a whole nother level, like, do more than just catch an attitude?
It is how you implement it. It's just how you put it. But if they take it in a bad way. I mean, I would try to rephrase it a little bit. But sometimes you got to realize that if you set a boundary that a person don't agree with, there's nothing you could do in that situation because they just not going to agree with it.
Yeah.
And you could try over and over and over and over, and you and I both know it's hard to change someone else.
Yes.
You cannot change no one else if they're not willing to change.
Yes.
So it becomes frustrating when you keep trying to change that person or to establish that boundary that you set, and it's going in one ear and out the other on their behalf. You know what I mean? It's hard, and it gets frustrating for that person because it's like, damn, I told you this last time, or this is my 50th time saying this to you. Why you keep doing that?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? That person ain't ready to change or willing to change, and you beating a dead horse because they'll never change. That's not them. It's not in them. And then trying to get them to do something outside of what they really want to do is foolery. I'm telling you now, it's foolery.
Yeah, and so sometimes I agree with you 100%. You know, sometimes it's not always about them not wanting to change. I think sometimes you set the boundary up too late.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if this kind of crap been going on,
but that's change. That's trying to get them to change.
When it's
too late.
But you didn't show them who you were from the get go. Put it out there up front. I feel like in the beginning of.
But is it just that simple to put it out there up front? Because like you got to feel a person out first, right? To see what type of person they is, because maybe it's nothing to put out there up front because they don't indulge in those type of activities.
No matter who they are, you know who you are.
Yeah.
And you know coming into this new situation what's gonna make you miserable. And I think so many times we go into situations trying to please, trying to show the very best. That's why a lot of relationships fail, because in the beginning, you're showing the best of yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You're cooking, you're showing you do this, you're doing extracurricular activities sexually. You know, you're giving them all of this version of you. Can you hold up to that? Even though they may be qualities you really have, do you really want to do that every week? Yeah. Are you really that girl that rub your man's feet every time he come in the house? But you did that for 6 months when y'all first got together.
Yeah.
You know, and so now he's expecting that. And now you want to put up boundaries. Like, wait, I'm doing too much. I'm this, I'm that. Well, you did a lot, you know. And I think sometimes it's not even always about them changing. It's about putting the boundaries out there way sooner.
I was about to say that because I think you can establish or try to establish boundaries too early. And that'll, you know, throw a person off because it could be taken as a turn off. Like, she come with all this. Like, I can't handle that.
That's a great point. Because too soon.
Yeah, too soon.
Soon will be like, oh, mama bear.
Yeah, like, oh.
I already got a mama and she enough.
Yeah, I can't sign up for all this.
I can't sign up for all this. I would say this then. This is why I love these podcasts, because as you talk, the answer come out, right?
Yeah.
I would say this. The moment something is done, set that boundary at that moment.
Oh, yes.
So the first time that person stay out till 7 a.m, you know, y'all need to have that talk at 7 a.m. Yeah. Like, don't rush out being late and be having an attitude and not talking to him for a few days and he don't even know what's wrong. And then when you bring it up, it sounds so petty.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about it right then and there. Like, hey, this is tough for me. This is a little different. This is outside of my comfortability. This is something that I don't think I want to go through on a daily basis, you know? So I would say the first, maybe the second time the boundary is crossed, approach it.
Before it become a consistent pattern.
Yeah. So of course in the beginning you're not gonna have a rule book like don't do this, don't do that.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying once that boundary is crossed, either the first or second time, you can give it 2 times because maybe one time it wasn't intentional. Yeah. You know. But the second time, this doesn't feel good.
Yeah. So pretty much you're saying just like what I hear is have a reason to establish boundaries.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because if you don't have a reason, it could come across as, oh, she just a bitch.
Yeah, she just a bitch. And her expectations are too high. I also feel like with having expectations on people is a disappointment.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of pressure to put on people. We're all humans. We're all doing, what we can do.
Especially if you know what that person is capable of. If you know that person's not capable of coming up with $1 million idea or $1 million strategy, why place them boundaries on that person or expectations on that person?
Expectations on that person.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's tough, and it put that person in a difficult position to try to do something that person or be somebody that person isn't. And we both know that it's hard to fake it. It's hard to fake it because it don't last long. It don't last long, especially when you live with someone. When you live with a person, your true self come out whether you want to hide it or not.
Yeah, it's no way to hide who you truly are when you live with someone. Yeah. Because that's morning, noon, and night, you know. If you're not clean, if you're not really a clean person, it'll show.
Oh, yeah.
It'll show, you know, because that's your true nature. That's not who you really are. And so that's what I mean. So let's say you move in with someone, and at first they spend the night over, they fold their little clothes up, make up their side of the bed, and now y'all live together, you know, and none of those things are being done. And so now you finding yourself picking up stuff behind them, you know, cleaning up behind them constantly. Don't let that go on for 2 years and just say he's a messy guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I mean by set that boundary a lot sooner. So the first time he left his stuff all over the place, okay, it was a late night, whatever. You know, second time, okay, I'm cleaning up his shit again. You know, third time, say something.
Yeah.
Hey, this is going to be uncomfortable for me. Yeah. Like, we live together now. If I'm going to have to be cleaning up your stuff every day, like, this is going to be a burden for me. You know, we got to set some boundaries on when can you clean up. If you're not a person that clean up every time behind yourself, can we do clean up days? Like, what do we want to do here? Because we need to set some boundaries because I'm not about to be picking up behind you every day, you know.
Yeah, it's tough because the boundary word automatically put a person on defense. Like, if you come to me and say, listen, Jolly, I want to set some boundaries in this relationship, automatically I'm on defense. Like, what's she about to say?
Yeah.
What am I doing wrong?
What's the better word?
I mean, I just think you need to just speak specifically about the situation.
The situation,
at hand,
yeah.
Right?
Because I don't think I used the word.
Just sound like, hold up, she about to come with something that's about to be devastating. So let me put my defense mechanism up and put my shield up. So now I'm not hearing what you're actually about to tell me. You know what I mean? So it's just like I'm waiting for you to attack me.
Yeah.
And if you're attacking me, I gotta put my defense up to be able to fight back. So now I'm not listening to understand you. I'm just listening to respond to you. And then my response is going to be probably negative because I feel like you're attacking me.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, have I ever said the word boundary? I don't think
so. I don't think that word
I think that even in the sense of her asking about it, that's a perfect word for the question.
Oh, yeah.
But of course, when you're, interacting with someone, you wouldn't say, but there are people that say we need to set some boundaries in this relationship. And I think...
Don't that just sound like, here comes some bullshit.
Here comes something bossy, or here comes something telling me what I need to do.
Yeah.
And no one really wants to be told what they need to do.
Not as an adult.
I think approaching it from not telling them what they need to do.
So that's why she said, how can you do it in a respectful manner?
And I'm about to give you that answer.
Yeah.
Instead of telling them what they need to do, tell them what you want. Don't make it about pointing and criticizing and you crossing this boundary and this and that. Make it about, hey, this is how I feel. When you come in late sometime, it make me feel like this, you know. And I don't want to be second guessing what's going on,
But so
can you communicate with me? Like, could you have communicated with me more?
Yeah, or better.
So, instead of... let's set some boundaries about what time you coming in here. You know, that's a lot different than saying when you come in at 7, it makes me feel like this. Number 1, I can't sleep. Number 2, I'm worried. Number 3, I don't know if you're with another girl. Number 4, you didn't communicate with me. Like, break down what coming in at that time of morning do to you. And then now the other person has no choice but to hear you, sympathize, because you're not pointing at them like blah, blah, blah. You're actually telling them how you feel. Yeah. And then y'all could set the boundary, and that way he could be like, damn, I ain't know it really affected you like that. You ain't sleep all night.
Yeah.
I could do better, blah, 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 blah.
But like I said earlier, sometimes you're not going to always come out on the winning side. when you try to establish boundaries, because if it's something that person wants to do, it's hard to extract from that and take away from them, because maybe they feel like, they taking a part of their natural self from the situation. So let's say, for example, me and you're in a relationship, and you don't like the fact that I consistently give my family member or loan my family members money, right? And like you'll say like, look, babe, we struggling on the bills. Every time your sister come or every time your brother come and ask for money, you up and give it to them. Well, and on my behalf, and I'm thinking like, well, that's my sister, that's my brother. They in a time of need. They need. So if I'm able, I'll go ahead and lend them that, right? With the hopes that I'll get it back. But if I don't get it back, oh well. And on your end, you're like, well, if you don't get it back, why give it? We need it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's a tough compromise for someone in your position. In that
would
example,
be in my position.
To be in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, well, why are you taking away from us? So, if you tell me that, if you mention that to me, it'll put me on the defense like, this is my sister, this is my family.
Yeah, this is my family.
You know what I mean? So, and it's hard to come in between family, but, sometimes it's just like,
And see, now, if I approach that like, you're doing this for your family, you need to tell them to do this, and they're grown, and this and that, then they go to defense.
Yeah.
But if I tell you...
But the majority of the people, they'll try to come off like caring and considerate at first, but if the person is like not receptive to that, then it makes you want to combat them. Like, well, they grown, they should get a job. You got a job. Why is you giving them your paycheck that you work hard for, and they just sitting on their ass just begging?
Yeah.
And you don't see nothing wrong with that? So then it makes you get like a little aggressive with the situation.
Ultimately, as you stated in the beginning of the podcast, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
And that's up to you as the person who want to set boundaries to accept. Is that one of the things that I can accept?
Yeah, am I willing
to deal with this? Because just because that's what they want to do, don't mean that you can't feel how you want to feel about the situation.
Yeah.
So you have to weigh that out. Is this boundary really worth my whole relationship?
Yeah.
Or is this something that his family gonna cross that boundary and take out of our household? This something I'm just gonna have to deal with because that's something intimate to him.
Yeah.
So it's so tricky.
It is tricky.
You know what? I feel like humanity is tricky, right? Yeah. Because we're all living our own experience. We're all in our own mind, in our own world, living our own experience.
That's it right
you know? And so when you sharing the experience, it's like I have my experience in my mind, you have yours. And if now I'm part of your experience, your world, your kids, your family, the way that you've been structured of doing things in your own reality. And I have my own reality. And I'm used to doing things the way that I'm used to doing it. And now we're putting these realities together and they are not always going to be the same.
It's not going to be smooth all the way out, ironed all the way out.
Pick and choose your battles. Now, something that is keeping me up at night, that is stressing me or wearing me, now you're messing with my health. Yeah. You're messing with my experience, right? You are physically messing with my health, because if I'm stressing, I'm getting older. If I'm worrying, I'm getting wrinkles. I'm feeling bad inside. My blood pressure is going up. I'm not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
We're going to have to work this one out in a way that it's not affecting me and my mental, But the things that just annoying, like to me, that instance of we're struggling and you giving your family money at a time where we need, I do that too. So I'm not a good person for that, but let's just say I'm not that kind of family person, because I'll give my family any and everything because I'm going to make it work.
Yeah, me too.
So in that instance of we're struggling, that would be an annoying thing. That would be like it wouldn't be a breaking moment.
For some people would. A deal breaker, yeah.
Yeah, that would be a deal breaker. But for me, that's why I say you have to weigh your options out. Because if this guy loves you, y'all sharing your experience together, y'all traveling, y'all having this life that you truly enjoy, but he like giving all his darn money to his family, that's something that I feel like you could weigh that out and you can decide if that's something you can deal with. Personally, it would probably be annoying, but it wouldn't be something that would be overwhelming for me.
I know it would be annoying because you got to look at it like maybe how he's looking at it and see it from his perspective. Because I'm a person too, like you said, I'm a person that gives to my family. If my family need, I'm giving. I'm sorry.
I'm giving.
And
I'm sorry
the thing
too.
about it is,
I'm sorry.
Thing about it is, I know that I'm gonna get it back. So you don't have to worry about us getting put out.
Yeah.
I've been doing this consistently, giving to my family for years.
Yeah.
Have we been put out yet?
Yeah.
No. When it comes time to pay those bills or pay that rent, guess what?
That's why I
come up with the rent money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I still was able to give my family.
Yeah.
So don't worry about that. You're worrying about that for what reason? I don't know, because it really ain't a problem because I still handle my business.
Yeah.
And I still feel good about giving to my family.
It kind of falls in the category of annoying.
Yeah, annoying.
Because ultimately, we're not getting put out anyway. Because if I got to hustle harder because you want to give all your darn money away, we're going to do what we need to do, So I think just picking out what's important and what's not. So I hope you got what you needed today. I hope you got your answer, Overall, be kind in the way that you deliver any message, and make it about you. You're the one coming to someone with an issue. That's what I feel like is a huge problem.
Do boundaries always have to be an issue?
No.
What about when it's not an issue?
That could be happy boundaries. Like, you could be dating someone new or something, and let's say he's all on you all the time. Like, we could be talking about physical boundaries as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So let's say this person is all on you all the time. That's a positive thing. He really likes you, blah, blah, blah.
From his
so that's not a negative boundary. Yeah, from his perspective. But it's just like, I need a little bit of space. Like, this is a bit much, So then you have to tell them that way. Now, let's talk about, there's people who go to work and get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Because they don't set any boundaries with their job. I think we were, briefly talking about that the other day.
Oh, yeah.
You call me on my day off. You're crossing a boundary.
Oh, yeah.
You calling me on my day off to come in to cover someone else's shift. Now, will I do it one time? Yes. That's why I said the first time you don't got to say nothing. Okay, Mr. Such and Such, I'll come in. Now, I'm finding out that I'm on speed dial as your little puppet.
Oh, yeah.
To be always working my day off.
I'm not going to tell you no.
Hey, let's set some boundaries. You can call me every so often. I have children. I have a life. You can call me every so often when someone doesn't come in, but I don't want to be your go-to.
Yeah,
I've been that straightforward.
You was like, am I your last resort? Did you
Yeah.
exhaust all your
when John used to call me, you know what I used to say? Let's see, Mr. Roger or whoever. I say, am I your last resort? Did you exhaust all your options? And they say yes. Yes, we can't get anyone to come in. Nobody picked up the phone. And I'll say, okay, I'll do it this time. But I can do it half a day.
But that's a boundary. You set that boundary. And that's a nice way that you set that boundary.
I'm still not giving you 8 hours because this is my day off. I say, look, I'll come in, I'll do it half a day. Something like that.
But that's what I was saying about setting those boundaries in a nice way, because you did in that example you just gave, that was setting a boundary in a nice way though. By you telling him, did you exhaust all your options? Am I your last resort?
Yeah, last resort.
Now what that does, without having to say it to him, it tells him, well, let me call everyone else before I call her. Let me make her my last option, because she's the only one that's not gonna happily jump up and say, oh, I'm on my way, Mr. Roger. She's going to put up some fights. She's going to put up some fights. So let me make her my last option.
But
that's what it do psychologically. You can set boundaries that'll make people understand what you're saying. Like I said with the egg demonstration, I don't have to tell you, don't put cracked eggshells in the carton. Mm-hmm. If I tell you that's something that I don't like, that's actually setting the boundary. Right there. Yeah.
So just expressing, that's why it goes back to expressing how it make you feel. Yeah. It's something you don't like. that was setting a boundary right there.
Yeah.
You didn't have to tell me, look, don't do this, or, you said it once you said it.
Oh! I know that
sound. Hey, quote of the day. Lack of boundaries invites lack of respect. We said they go together, and that happens to be the quote of the day. Lack of boundaries, lack of respect.
I'm a respectable guy. Like I said, I demand respect, so I give it as well. And I know in order for me to demand it, I have to give it. Yeah. So I'm a respectful guy, and I think that they do go hand in hand.
But the quote say it invites. It says lack of boundaries invites lack of respect. So not setting them, here comes the disrespect.
Yeah.
You invited it because you didn't set anything.
Yeah. I mean, I think overall you should voice your concerns, because if you voicing concerns in a respectful manner, I think a person will be accepting of that. Mm-hmm. I think they'll take it in, like, especially if they care for you, right? And I think they'll take it in and say, okay, he or she don't like this. Let me not do that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I think if you do set those boundaries, you don't really have to do it in a negative sense or do it in an argumentative way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Speaking of boundaries, we're about to be in 2023, y'all. Do you have any boundaries you want to set for your new life moving forward for the new year? Is there any things you want to change? I want you guys to leave us a comment down below of what's your expectations for the new year for yourself. Not for no one else, but for yourself. Or maybe some boundaries that you want to set up that you don't want people treating you a certain way. If you guys have watched this long, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps us. So if you watch the podcast this long, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe. Share it. Share it with someone who's probably crossing boundaries with you. Without you saying anything, you can be like, hey, check out this podcast real quick. We love our patrons. We got our exclusive patrons community where it's just about us. We love it. If you guys want to join, you know where you can join at. Please remember, you can pretend to be anybody or you can just be yourself. So be you, and we are now us. Boundaries. That was dope.
Boundaries. It make you think though, like boundaries. It's gonna be stuck in my mind all day.
Yeah.